yesterday morning besides reading? What did we do? Julissa.
We put plate and then we put leaves on top of it.
Right. What were we trying to make with that, Callie?
Fossils.
Fossils. What kind of fossils?
Leaf.
Tegan.
Plant fossils.
Plant fossils. So should we look at those today?
Yes.
All right. And can someone remind me what our prediction was from yesterday? Andrea, I just about called you Allie.
The one with the vines down is gonna be the most that shows.
All right. Let's quietly take a vote. If you still think that's going to be true, raise your hand. Good. All right. Should we do that one first then?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have to be really careful because these leaves, are really, 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 really fragile. Does anyone know what fragile means?
What?
Allie?
They can break.
Breaks easily, right?
Rare.
Not really rare. That's more of a antique or, I can't get that little part out while I come around. Can you see it pretty well? Do you think that if it was left longer, the impression of the leaf would make a deeper impression and be better?
Yeah.
So you think if I would have left it till tomorrow, it might have been better?
Yeah.
Is it still pretty good though?
Yeah.
No, I'll have you write that in tomorrow. Okay, I am going to do one more because we have both of these have them down, and then we'll compare and contrast what they look like. Does anyone know what those two words mean? Brayden, what does compare mean?
Like how they're the same?
How they're the same. Good. That's compare. What's contrast mean? Jaden.
They're different.
They're different. Oh, can you even see this one?
No.
No. So even if I just hold them up from this far away, which one can you see better?
The one north of mine.
This one right here,
But
right?
that one's a little bit deeper.
It might just be deeper because I pressed harder on it, but I think the fine lines of it, this one is deeper. So was our prediction correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, good. So if we have a fossil that is made in the mud, like we talked about yesterday, and it takes days and months for it to just dry up, right? Do you think that that one will be a really good fossil of the plant or the leaf? Right. Okay. Can someone tell me what we talked about yesterday besides plant fossils? I know we talked about one other thing. Victor. It's kind of a big word. Brayden?
Extinct.
We talked about the word extinct, yeah, and how some plants are extinct. Good. What does extinct mean? Julissa, do you know?
To no longer be here.
To no longer be here. Yep. Tegan, do you have an idea of what we talked about? It's a pretty big word. It was kind of a scary looking one.
I can't remember, but I do have a thing for extinct.
Okay.
The species no longer exists.
Yep. Good. Is that what the definition was in the book yesterday? Yeah. Andrea, do you remember that scary word? Oh, you're so close. Petrified. Good. And what did we learn about that? Was it another way to make plant fossils, or was it just some silly word that was in our book?
Another way to make them.
Another way to make fossils. And these fossils, they weren't made out of mud. They were plants that turned into what? Rock. Do you remember the 3 steps of that process? Brayden, what was one of them? Or the first one?
It was wet. Like
It got
buried.
It got buried in what?
In mud.
Good. Johnny, do you remember the second one?
It dried up and turned into rock.
It dried up and turned into not rock, but what replaced the mud? Do you want to phone a friend?
Oh.
Someone with their hand raised quietly.
Minerals.
Minerals. And then the minerals turn into what, Johnny?
Rock.
Rock. Good job. So today we are going to continue with page 23. So I'd like for you to open your books.
Already there. 23. Already there.
23. Do you remember we looked at those 4 pictures at the top yesterday?
Yeah.
Looking at the text features, the pictures, the captions, the highlighted words, what do you think we're going to finish talking about today? Noah, what's one thing?
Petrified wood.
Petrified wood. What gave you that clue?
This right here.
That picture? Good. Is there anything else, Victor?
I don't remember.
You don't remember, that's okay. Braden?
I can tell it's petrified because at the beginning of the it says petrified.
Good. All right. Boys, will you read out loud that first paragraph for me? And girls, I want to see your fingers so I know you're following along. Petrified wood can form when trees are buried in the ground. Minerals replace wood in the trees at the same time. Water breaks down the wood and carries it away. Over a long period of time, the wood becomes stone with exactly the same shape and markings as the original wood. Good. Did we learn anything new in this paragraph? Julissa, what's one thing we learned?
That something takes away the water and then it brings it to rock.
Good. Harley, what's another?
Minerals replace wood in the trees.
Good, and we kind of talked about that yesterday, right? But it explained it a little bit more today. All right, ladies, will you read the next paragraph out loud with me? And boys, will you follow along with your fingers? Many kinds of plants that lived long ago are no longer alive. They are extinct. For example, ferns that live today look different from the ferns that lived long ago. Plants related to the extinct ferns and horsetail fossils shown in the photos live on Earth today. So it said in there that ferns that live today look different from the ferns that lived long ago. Do you think that kind of gives us a hint that plants, they kind of change over time?
Yeah.
Right. What else changes over time? Are there other things that can change over time?
People.
Jaden, what's an example? People. How do they go through like a life cycle kind of, or are they different from? They live differently maybe from like the 1950s than they do now. Is that a change?
Yeah.
Good. And we talked about that word extinct already. So in that paragraph, it said some of the ferns in the pictures above are extinct. Does that mean they no longer exist?
Yeah.
Yeah. How are petrified fossils made? Ooh, Brayden.
The wood becomes stone, and then it has the same carving as the wood that used to be.
Good. Yep, they just harden in the stone in the shape of the original wood, right? And what's really important in that process? What's that M word? It's not mud.
Minerals.
Minerals are so important in the process, right? Do petrified plant fossils contain any parts of the plant? Tegan? Does it say in their reading? Does it say anything about how the fossils maybe still have some of the parts of the plant, or are all those like washed away? They're washed away. The petrified plant fossils don't contain any parts of the plant. Okay, let's turn. What?
I seen on the top where they show all 4 fossils. On the red one, it has like a little orange label.
Right. Tegan, would you want to see? Can you remember to raise your hand? Thank you. Let's turn to page 24. Alright, does someone see a new heading at the top? Allie, what's that heading saying?
Plants change over time.
Ooh, did I say that on the last page? Did I ask a question about
Yeah.
changing over time? So, do you think we're going to talk more about how plants change over time?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Are there any captions on this page? Brayden?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to help us learn more about those pictures?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, pictures that have captions are in what kind of text?
Realistic.
Important or
Realistic.
informational. Good. So like the biographies that we're reading right now in reading class, do those have pictures with captions?
Yes.
Is that an informational text?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Everyone, let's read out loud that first paragraph. Plant fossils tell us that the first plants did not have flowers or cones. Many were like today's ferns and horsetails. As Earth changed over time, however, plants changed too. Trees that made cones appeared. The plants with flowers appeared. Many of these kinds of plants have completely disappeared. Ooh, what is a plant that makes cones? We talked about this a few weeks ago. What's that called? Andrea.
A coniferous tree.
A coniferous tree. So on the board, could I write that it's just a plant that makes cones?
No.
No?
Yeah.
A coniferous. Isn't that what we just read?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. What else does it make? Can anyone tell me that? What are those like pokey little things? Brayden? Pine cones. And the really long little thin things that you step on and they really hurt, Callie?
Pine needles.
Pine needles. They make cones and needles and they are really pointy.
I was gonna say pollen.
Oh, nope. You were close though, because remember plants do have pollen and we can pollinate with them, right? Good. Okay. What are the plants that make flowers? Victor.
When there's a flower and another flower right by it and something goes away and it pollinates.
Good. What kind of tree sheds their leaves? Jalissa.
A deciduous.
Deciduous. Good. Do you remember that from a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yes.
The trees like the evergreens, don't them little pokey things try to protect the pine cones?
They do try to protect the pine cones. Good recall, Tegan. I like that. All right, let's read that next paragraph. Boys, read with me. Magnolias are an example of a group of flowering plants that has survived. The world was warm and wet year-round when magnolias first appeared. Dinosaurs were everywhere. Big flowers dotted the branches for months. Magnolias grew thick leaves that they kept year-round. Magnolias just like this are alive today. The flower of the magnolia has remained unchanged for 100 million years. Whew, that's a long time, isn't it?
Very.
Girls, let's read that next paragraph. Boys, make sure you're following along. As forms of life continued to change, so did the magnolias. Some magnolias now are deciduous. They lose their leaves in fall. Their flowers grow all at once before the leaves appear in the spring. Even so, their leaves and flowers are similar to those of magnolias
that live long ago.
Good. I think I got a little tongue-tied. All right. What were some of the earliest plants like? Ooh, I want to pull 6.
Hi, I'm Rachel Lynch, and this is my video reflection for my science lesson plan that I will be graded over classroom management for. I will be going over a few things in these short 5 minutes. The first thing I will discuss is how I planned for classroom management in my class today for this lesson specifically. The next thing I will talk about is how maybe I could have improved on classroom management. And the third thing I will talk about is how I can prepare better for classroom management in the future and some different ideas I thought of today that I could have done. First, I prepared for blurting, talking out of turn, people not raising their hands, and students even wanting to come up during the middle of the lesson to tell me what they think about it or something even just from the night before. Because a lot of my students at that 3rd grade age still love to share their ideas and stuff, and they want me to know what's going on in their life, but sometimes they just don't do it at the appropriate time. The way I prepared for the blurting was by trying to have them just raise their hand, show them non-verbally, raise your hand. I also tried to just make sure that they knew that I really wanted to have them work on raising their hand when they wanted to talk. I'm not sure how effective I was in that today. I think overall it went pretty well, but I also think there are some things to work on, like just maybe giving better instruction for that to happen. I think that I could have also planned better maybe to use the sticks. I noticed when I watched my video at the end of it, it was like, I think I'm just going to pull some sticks now. And that's not very appropriate or good instruction, but it went well and the students perceived it well. But on my part, I felt like I could have done better. How I handled the talking out of turn is I would just non-verbally raise my hand and remind students that they just need to raise their hand if they have a comment or a question about what we're talking about today. And I think overall that went pretty well. I didn't really have much blurting today like I normally do. Some things that I thought of that I could do differently instead of counting down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I could have just done a call and response like hocus pocus, and then the students would say everybody focus, or like go big red, and they could say go big red back because it in Nebraska the Huskers are a really big thing, so a lot of students would know just to say go big red after you say go big red, and I think that would have worked great. Also, I think another thing that could have done really well was the I sometimes use the, like, if I say, if you can hear my voice, touch your head. If you can hear my voice, put your pencil away. If you can hear my voice, look at me. If you can hear my voice, close your book. And once all of the students are doing it in unison, I will finally move on to the next direction. And I found that actually works out really well. So I think I'll use that a lot more in the future, especially when I want to transition from using the book or turning the page or from reading. Just transitionally, I think it works great. To plan for the future, I will try some of these new techniques. I might even look up some things that I did in past internships, maybe ask other teachers on what they find best for classroom management. But classroom management is always changing and ever growing, just as students are always changing and ever growing in your room daily. So sometimes it's hard just to plan for those things, but you always have to be prepared. And I think it's really easy sometimes for us to get so focused on the content that we need to be teaching, but I've realized that students aren't going to learn that content unless there's good classroom management. I think there's a lot of things that I need to focus on, but overall I feel like I did a really good job at classroom management today. And I was really proud of my students for being receptive when things changed or when I stumbled over my words or something like that. They don't tend to make jokes, and they didn't really do that today either, which I'm so thankful for. Sometimes it's hard when students make jokes of each other for messing up or make jokes of you and just kind of laugh about it. And you just kind of have to remind them, hey, this isn't an appropriate time for that. So overall, I think I did pretty well. I definitely will change a few things in how I plan for instruction of classroom management, but I'm not disappointed with how this lesson went, and I'm not disappointed with the classroom management of today. I think and believe that my students acted very well today, and they do normally every day, so I wasn't surprised with their good behavior today at all. Classroom management is so focused on the teacher, and as the teacher is organized in their classroom management, I feel like the students are going to be receptive and organized in the way that they act towards you. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video and to grade me and to help me finish getting my career. I hope this classroom management was something positive, and I look forward to bettering myself as a teacher and in the classroom management area. Thank you for your time.